Still one. We'll take one. Y'all give me 1 minute. I need to set my clock on my recorder. And it is okay, we will go ahead on and get started with prayer. Attention, prayer. And we pray. Surely I am being turned to thee, O Allah, being upright, to he who originated the heavens and the earth. I am not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah, Lord of the worlds. No associate that fee in this is my commandment. I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the king, and there is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, I am thy servant. I've been greatly unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. So grant me protection against my faults, Allah, for none grants protection against faults except thee. Turn away from me the evil and indecent morals, for none can turn from me the evil and indecent morals but thee. But guide me, O Allah, to the best of morals, for none guides to the best of morals but thee. Bless Muhammad and the followers of Muhammad, as thou didst bless Abraham and the followers of Abraham. Surely thou art praiseworthy and magnified. And make Muhammad and the followers of Muhammad successful, as thou didst make Abraham and the followers of Abraham successful. Surely thou art praiseworthy and magnified. And O Allah, we beseech your aid, guidance, and protection. We invoke your spirit. We thank you for Mr. L. Ron Hubbard. And we thank you for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. In their names we pray. Amen. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness once again that there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Farah Muhammad. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the first begotten of the dead, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the first fruit of them that slept. And in their names, I greet my dear beloved brothers and sisters on this wonderful Ramadan morning. Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Mubarak.
Walaikum salam. Ramadan Kareem.
Okay. So we will get started here. We started here with part 9 this morning. And it's this first one. I want you, Sister Haviva, if you will start at part 9. On mine, it starts on ayat 88. I want you to go from 88 to 93. So I don't know if the numbers are different.
Okay, I'm searching. 88. Okay, I was going to go to 89 just to see. It says Allah has prepared.
No.
Okay, but the messenger and those who believe.
Now we're on part 9, right?
Right.
Oh,
the chiefs.
I'm sorry.
Are you in Surah 7?
I was in Surah 9.
It would be 788.
788. Please bear with me. I'm on so many different segments of the Quran right now.
No problem, sir.
780. Did you say 788? What did you
Right,
say?
that's right. Well, yeah.
Page
That will be, yeah, that's right. 7th. Wait a minute, that's wrong.
Sister Habiba is Surah 7, Ayat 88.
It's the same this time in the book and the electronic so far.
7, Ayat 88. Okay. And then I have 88 reading the arrogant chiefs.
That's correct.
Okay, praise be to Allah. Name of Allah, the beneficent, the most merciful. You said from 88 to what now, sir?
To 93, through 93. Even though we're going to do 94 too, but there's a little story there in from 88 to 93 that I thought would be helpful to us.
Surah 7, Al-Araf, the elevated places. Ayat 88, I seek refuge in Allah. The arrogant chiefs of his people said, We will certainly turn thee out, O Shuab, and those who believe with thee from our town, or you shall come back to our religion. He said, even though we dislike it. Indeed, we should have fought a lie against Allah. If we go back to your religion after Allah has delivered us from it, and it is not for us to go back to it unless Allah, our Lord, please. Our Lord comprehends all things in his knowledge. In Allah do we trust. Our Lord, decide between us and our people with truth, and thou art the best of deciders. And the chief of his people who disbelieved said, if you follow Shuab, you are surely losers. So the earthquake overtook them, and they were motionless bodies in their abode. Those who called Shuab a liar were as though they had never dwelt therein. Those who called Shuab a liar, they were the losers. So he turned away from them and said, O my people, indeed I delivered to you the messages of my Lord, and I gave you good advice. How then should I be sorry for disbelieving people? Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Yes, I just thought this this little story of Shuab. Shuab actually appears at least one other time in the Quran, and you know there is a theme, sort of a reoccurring theme in the Quran where it talks about Allah sending you messengers, sending you all kind of messengers, sending you a lot of different kind of messengers, and some messages that you know, some messages that you don't know, some messages that are mentioned, some that are not necessarily mentioned. And so, you know, we all should recognize the fact that we are messengers. You know, what is a messenger? A messenger is someone that carries a message. You know, so whatever you and I get of reality from our experience and our practice of Islam, it is really our duty to take that message somewhere else. But in this case, you know, Shuab, when you, I think it's later in the Quran, it talks about Shuab being sort of, he was kind of a minor guy. You know, he had some notoriety, but he was not one of the big wigs, you know what I mean? In our case, you know, he was not one of those. He was not on the executive council, you know, but he was one that was really spreading the religion. He was spreading goodness. He was spreading the good news, you know. And so sometimes when you are not you know, people establish a standard. And as this is one reason why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us of the 85%, the 10%, and the 5% in our lessons. You know, the 85% are basically people that that just exist. The 10% are the bloodsuckers of the poor. And I'm paraphrasing, I'm condensing it down. And the 5% are the poor righteous teacher. And so, you know, if somebody wants to bring the lessons out, you know, we can bring them out. But I'm just really saying this to try to condense it as much as possible. That you have in any organization, you have the 85%, you have the 10% and the 5%, where you got 85 generally, and 85% of the people, they are just there. They just exist. They just have weight and they take up space. That's just really the reality of it, brothers and sisters. Then you got 10% who we call the bloodsuckers of the poor. And they take advantage of the 85%. The 85% are really the ones that are easily led in the wrong direction and hard to lead in the right direction. But then you have 5% who really understand the program, who get the big picture, as we've been talking about lately. And so Shuab seems to be one of the 5% people, not a 5%er, but of the 5% who are the true righteous, the poor righteous teachers who are really down with the program, who really understand the program. And so in ayat 90, it says that the chiefs of the people who disbelieve said that if you follow Shuab, you are surely losers. And then the earthquake overtook them. And then, so it says, those who called him a liar were as though they had never dwelt therein, and they were the losers. And so, to me, and I guess really what I'm saying is that we don't want to take the truth coming from Allah to us for a cheap price, or in other words, let's look at the word for the word. Let us see everything for what it is. And I guess the reason I brought this out is because, as I was saying, Shuab was not a big name. He was not a big name prophet, but nevertheless, what he brought to the people, it was something that came to bear later. And then there was a certain amount of opposition from them to him that the people later regretted. And so when we get to that part later, I'll be able to explain that a little bit more. It's just when I saw Shuab, I just remember every year when I read the Quran at this point and I see Shuab, it makes me think about he's one of those minor prophets that had a major message. And it just says to me that we, it's just like in my music classes, I tell my students that, if you're going to be a good musician, one of the things that you have to do is learn how to pay attention to details, and not to get hung up on a detail, but to look at the sheet of music and you see all of the different instructions. There are all kind of instructions on the music that tells you how long the measure is. It tells you how fast to play it. It tells you the dynamics, whether you're gonna play it soft, loud, whether you should swell up, whether you should make it diminish, whether you could hold a note and all this kind of stuff like that. So that's the reason that I brought that out. And so I hope that I didn't lose anybody on that you got the gist of what I was saying. All right, Sister Haviva, if you would read going from 94, take from 94 up to 101. But before you do that, let's hear from Brother Lukman.
Ramadan Mubarak, family.
Ramadan Kareem, sir.
What I've been striving to do in going through the ayats, I'm trying to look at the ayats that are significant as allegories, as it says in the rules of interpretation, and to try to take the ayats and make them personal. In ayat number 91, where it says, so the earthquake overtook them, okay, and they were motionless bodies in their abode. I did the word clearing. There's three significant words in that ayat. The one is earthquake. The second is motionless. Actually, yeah, and the third is abode. But I was looking at that more symbolically. The word earthquake, when you clear that word from Arabic, it also represents to be agitated. And it also represents emotion, an emotional state. And another meaning is false rumors or false information. And then the word motionless in Arabic, when you look at all the terms, it really boils down to the inability to confront. And I remember how the minister said in The Divine Destruction of America, he said that grief was going to be one of the things that Allah would use as a punishment. So when I was looking at this ayah, I was looking at the fact that when we become agitated or we become re-stimulated, that actually is one of the things that takes away our ability to confront things that take place in our life. And when I looked at the word abode, motionless of bodies in their abode, that word in Arabic also has to deal with the mind. So I was looking at this ayah in particular symbolically to represent that part of the punishment of not following the instructions of the messenger at that point of time would be
that particular messenger. Yes,
that particular messenger for that particular time. Then grief would be used, and those that did not have the ability to overcome the grief would become motionless in their mind, meaning they would be oppressed and they would not have the ability to solve the problems that were taking place in their individual life. And the inability to solve problems, if we look at it in this day and time, is one of the reasons or one of the things that's causing people to become re-stimulated, to become aberrated, and then to self-destruct.
Yes, sir. Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Anybody got anything, any comments or want to add to what brother was saying? Okay. Great. Yeah, thank you. And that really kind of what you said, that just really kind of it complemented what I was saying too about Shu'ab. Shu'ab, like he said, nobody really knew about Shu'ab, but he ended up being the guy, the very guy that was really delivering a very important and pertinent message to the people of that time. All right, so now we're going to go to section 12, ayat 94 through 101.
Yes, sir.
Just go ahead on and take it to 102, sis.
Yes, sir. Section 12, makings warn of punishment. I seek refuge in the law against the accursed Satan. Ayat 94. And we did not send a prophet to a town, but we seized his people with distress and affliction, that they might humble themselves. Then we changed the evil for good, so they became affluent and said, distress and happiness did indeed touch our fathers. So we took them by surprise while they perceived not. And if the people of the towns had believed and kept their duty, we would certainly have opened for them blessings from the heavens and the earth. But they rejected, so we seized them for what they earned. Are the people of the towns then secure from our punishment coming to them by night while they sleep? Or are the people of the town secure from our punishment coming to them in the morning while they play? Are they secure from Allah's plan? But none feels secure from Allah's plan except the people who perish. Allahu Akbar. Section 13. Moses sent to Pharaoh with signs. Ayat 100. Is it not clear to those who inherit the earth after its former residents that, if we please, we would afflict them for their sins and seal their hearts so they would not hear? Such were the towns, some of whose news we had related to thee, and certainly their messengers came to them with clear arguments, but they would not believe what they had rejected before. Thus does Allah seal the hearts of the disbelievers, and we found not in most of them faithfulness to the covenant, and we found most of them to be transgressors.
Okay.
Then, did
No,
you
we're
say?
good. We're good.
Okay, yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, sis. Thank you. Alhamdulillah. All right. 94. This is one, I don't know, seems like this is one of the ones that's repeated. I'm not sure. But this is an ayat that really stands out, that has stood out to me over the years as I have read Quran. And it says that we did not send a prophet to a town, but we seized its people with distress and affliction that they might humble themselves. And of course, you got distress, that Allah sends distress and affliction to a people to humble themselves. And this is really the mercy of Allah. And it's dealing with, it may seem, what I'm saying, it may sound like really kindergarten stuff to some of you scientists, but understand that as we study, and what Mr. Hubbard was saying about the static, he really was saying that the static is really the simplest thing. The static is the simplest thing. It is the least common denominator, if you will. And so cause and effect. So he caused them distress and affliction. And the effect is that they might humble themselves. And so some of the people in those towns, they probably say, oh, Lord, why you do this to me, or whatever the case may be. But Allah was just trying to get them to humble themselves, because when you humble yourself, then oftentimes some of the clouds of confusion that may exist in your mind, these clouds subside. And then you are able to see things from a much clearer perspective. Okay. And then he said, then we changed evil for good. And so that's what happens. See, once Allah gets the desired effect, since he is ultimate cause, when he gets the desired effect, then and which is them changing themselves. And I think it's you look at that surah, or not the surah, but the Bible verse that says, if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, then, see, when we turn from our wicked way, this is what Allah is trying to do. He's trying to reverse the direction that this world has channeled us. And so sometimes we have to experience some type of affliction in order for us to wake up and realize that we are going in a way that is contrary to our best interests, which ultimately is our survival, which we can translate further in saying going the right way, in the right direction. The right direction is the direction toward survival and to survive on the highest possible level, you know. But we want to survive on a level that the highest possible level without us impinging on the rights or interfering with the rights of somebody else to survive, because we got to realize that everybody is trying to survive. This is part of your nature, because survival is the right thing to do. And we're told by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that the nature of Black people is righteousness. Okay, so you go to Ayat 96. It said, and if the people of the town had believed and kept their duty, we would certainly have opened for them blessings from the heavens and the earth. But they rejected, so we seized them for what they earned. And this is another reoccurring theme. And you notice when we do our normal sessions, our normal straight wire sessions, at the end, we'll get Sister Jacqueline to close us out with this list. And then she always says in the end, she said, well, remember, believers, to believe and do good. You know, the 103, Surah 103, the time, you know, by the time surely man is in loss except those who believe and do good. So the belief puts you on a certain level of thought. It puts you, or it makes you susceptible to a higher level of thought. It makes you able to more easily elevate your tone level to the level of God. It makes you more pliant to the vibrations that Allah is giving off. It makes your submission easier when you believe in something, see? And of course, submission comes before belief. And so when you believe and do good, what is good? Good is help the dynamics, you know, if ain't nobody around to help yourself. Or if they are around, help yourself first, because that's the basis of helping anybody else. So believe and do good and keep your duty. And so this is, see, in other words, when you keep your duty, that's just like if you charging your phone, you keep the doggone charger plugged into the outlet. When you if your phone is not charging, you pull it out of the outlet, then then your phone begins to die instead of get stronger in terms of the battery. And then we notice in the very first ayat of the Quran, it says, all praise is due to Allah. All right, so you got do something that is due, and then you got duty. What is duty? Duty is that which is due. You follow what I'm saying? If you're going to do your duty to the nation, then the nation is actually, you giving them something that is due to them. And I remember the brother Jabril saying many years ago, he said that duty is the lowest form of good, because it's something that you owe anyway. And so, you know, I just wanted to say that to inshallah, especially since it is a recurring theme in Quran, that we understand more deeply the importance of belief. And see, when you think about these things, keep your mind active. And see, this is one of the training routines that Mr. Hubbard developed. that has been so useful to me is that learn how to live every moment in a new unit of time. And I think the minister was saying that he in this one song, he was talking about us giving each other the greeting. Assalamu alaikum. So when you say assalamu alaikum, say it in a new unit of time. When I say assalamu alaikum, and the next time I see you, I ain't carrying no assalamu alaikum from the last time. I'm saying it in a new unit of time, you know. And when you say things in a new unit of time, it tends to put you in present time, which is the only real time. That's the only time that you can do anything about. Okay. All right. So we're going to move to ayat 99, if no one's got anything to say about what we were just talking about. Okay. Ayat 99. It says, are they secure from Allah's plan? But none feel secure from Allah's plan except the people who perish. And so if you feel secure, you know, some people feel secure. Some people feel like they're doing everything. I've heard people say, you know, I'm living the law. You know, and you may be living the law according to what you're aware of, but then you may not be living the law according to what you're not aware of. That may be something that you're not aware of. And some people say, you know, give me protection, Allah, against my faults. Some people say, give me protection against all of my faults. You know, because when I say it, generally, I mean, when I say my faults, I'm talking about all of them faults that I can see, you can see, that I can't see, you can't see. All of them. Just if it's a fault, that's what I'm talking about. But what I'm saying is that sometimes we feel, some of us, we can get to the point. See, this knowledge is, especially in a group like this where we are dealing with some of the higher aspects of knowledge, we have to understand that these higher aspects and higher perspectives, higher approaches of knowledge tend to make you puffed up a little bit sometimes, because you're getting all of these doggone, you're getting these blessings, you're getting these cognitions. Man, these cognitions be pumping you, you know, you get blessed. And then, I mean, just think about it. Now you go through a period where you're getting all of these blessings. Well, Allah is blessing you, Allah is blessing you, Allah is blessing you. Well, you just got to stop for a minute sometime, make room for these blessings in your mind, because there is a tendency with knowledge as a tendency to puff you up. I don't care who it is. I'm talking to everybody on here. Now, you might not agree with me, but that's cool too. We're not going to argue about it, but I'm just saying, you know, that is what happens, you know, when you get knowledge. And it's actually in the Bible. I know we looked the scripture up one day talking about that, but that's what knowledge does. And so you don't want to, sometimes you can get puffed up to the point where you begin to feel secure. you begin to feel like, you know, you get courage and sometimes you can get overconfident, but you can't do that. And that's the scripture here warns of becoming overconfident, becoming puffed up, and actually to the point sometimes it can make you arrogant, and sometimes it can make you self-righteous. And arrogance and self-righteousness are actually higher gradients of hypocrisy. And hypocrisy is the opposite of the characteristics that we are trying to develop, which is integrity. All right? Moving on. Ayat 101. It says, such were the towns, some of whose news we have related to thee. Certainly their messengers came to them with clear arguments, but they would not believe what they had rejected before. Thus does Allah seal the hearts of the disbelievers. And they said, and we found not in most of them faithfulness to covenant, and we found most of them to be transgressors. The main thing that I got out of this particular ayat was that how Allah can seal the hearts of the disbelievers. You know how you can get, so what does that mean? He seal your heart. Sometimes he can make you feel, he can see, since the emotion, the heart is the seat of the emotions. Then for him to seal your heart, that means one of the reasons and one of the meanings, and I'll just repeat here, whatever I say, I'm just giving you one angle. Nothing, absolutely nothing that I'm saying is intended to say that what I'm telling you is the absolute end all, tell all. I'm just giving you a perspective that, you know, by Allah has blessed me to see from Mr. Hubbard's teachings. And it ain't just Mr. Hubbard's teaching, because what I'm saying from Mr. Hubbard's teaching, it has the base in the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. In the years that I was a student minister, you know, I have studied this and I have preached this week after week. So, I mean, it comes from the basic concepts come from the teaching, you know, but as the minister told us to study and to marry these teachings, this is what we're trying to do. And so the thing that I'm saying here, when he said it seals the heart, and the minister said that the heart is the seat of the emotions. So it's the seat. If you know, the heart is how you feel, it's your emotion, when you understand what emotion is. And this is one of the things that we're going to move forward when we move into our curriculum. We need to have a good understanding of what emotion is. What is emotion? What is the heart? When they say, when a man, what a man thinketh in his, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. It means the emotion. It means the emotion is actually, it is actually a mental condition. That's all the emotion is. It is a mental condition. And if you remember, as the minister teaches us in the white man's heaven is a black man's hell, he said that heaven and hell are just two conditions of mind. Well, what is the condition of mind of heaven? And what is the condition of mind of hell? See, when we understand, when we look deeper into these particular things, it edifies us and it enriches our experience day to day. So he says that Allah seals the heart. And one of the reasons, one of the meanings to that, or the meaning that I am going to put forth, is that you get stuck. He gets them stuck in a certain emotion. See, when we went through this thing about Will Smith, see, he got stuck in anger. And the only thing that's going to unstick him is probably was going to be for him to do what he did. See, he got stuck. Don't you get stuck sometime in anger? you can't move. You get paralyzed by anger. Sometimes you get paralyzed by fear. Sometimes you get paralyzed by resentment. You sealed. You stuck there. You see, and so that's one of the meanings of the heart being sealed. See, if I'm in a room and then they seal, the police come and they seal this room, they seal the room that I'm in, I'm stuck in that room. Go ahead, Sister Carol, my dear sister, whom I'm loving more and more every day.
Oh, sir, the feeling is so mutual, and for you as well, Sister Belinda, and everyone on this line. I'm telling you, I'm deeply in love with this line.
Praise be to Allah.
Brother, this reminds me of what the minister was saying to his granddaughter about her alcohol drinking.
Okay.
And he warned her. He loved her so much, and you could tell in his voice. He said she was so beautiful, and that meant I took it more than just having a pretty face. She had to be such a genuine person for him to show that much emotion about her beauty inside out. But he warned her, if you keep drinking, Allah will leave you there. And that's making me think on, she was stuck there. And I'm assuming that she probably perished as well. I don't know any facts on whether she's alive or dead, but he warned her that that's where she would be left. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you for sharing, dear sister. All right, brother Luqman Muhammad.
Yes, sir. As the sister was speaking, the story of Lot's wife came to mind, turning into a pillar of salt. And I think that, and I remember Sister Ava explaining what that meant. She said salt was a preservative. And she said that, and I'm paraphrasing, that being changed into a pillar of salt, it's almost like it's symbolic of being stuck on a time track, I guess you could say, because she kept looking back. So to continue to look back is like being stuck on the time track. And when the punishment took place, that's where she was. She was still stuck in the past. And that's just something that came to mind as sister was speaking.
Yes, sir. That's excellent. That's an excellent depiction of what I was trying to say. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Obviously what she was trying to say, but what I was trying to say. Thank you, dear brother. Sister Denise.
Yes, sir.
The great. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. I was thinking about, as you were saying, how the heart is still. I remember one of my family members became so angry that, like, he couldn't bring himself back from that anger. And that anger sort of froze his heart, and he just fell dead. Like, I don't know if all his chemicals went into that heart, you know, that you can become so angry that it freezes you, you know, and you still. So your body reacts to you. You know what you doing, your body is responding. Like, you know, you have to breathe, come on, pump it or something. But if you froze in that state, and you were saying that he used grief for the people, and we just lost, they was coming down the highway the wrong way. I don't know what happened, but you know, we lost 2 young family members, and they were all on Facebook talking about, why is this happening to our family? And I was just listening to you, you know, because grief is something that goes on and on and on, and you think you rid of it, and then here comes another one, you know, here it comes again. So as you was talking about, weapons and the Quran said, and the believers, they shall not some nor grieve. And I see the importance of why it's not good for us to grieve like that, and that's what I was thinking about. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sister Denise. And as you were talking, it made me think about, especially when you mentioned the thing about anger, see, certain, and I guess everything that's below 2.0 can really mess you up, but they're like traps. Anger can be like a trap, because anger is, once you get the train rolling of anger, it can kind of throw you into a loop, LOOP, where it just keeps on looping. Because what happens is that once you get into this groove of anger, then all of the chain, you begin to contact the chains, the various chains of facsimiles in your bank that are attached to anger. And these various chains begin to feed on the anger that you got. That's how people could just start off angry, and then the next thing you know, they are, like my grandmama used to say, they plumb out of their mind. You see, and so that's a very interesting characteristic of that. And not only that, you have fear. Fear can put you into a loop too, and that's what happens when you fear something. You have to be careful, because you can key in a facsimile chain containing fear, and then what you do, what happens oftentimes when you get into that fear loop, it develops into something that they call in psychology, they call it paranoia. Paranoia, when you begin to fit every doggone thought into that pattern of fear. Sister Tina, salam alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak.
Wa alaikum salam, sir. Wa alaikum salam, family. Ramadan Kareem. Yes, sir. When you were talking about getting stuck, it took me back to that verse 91 that Brother Lukman flagged earlier, because and that's what came to my mind, how we can become motionless bodies in our abode.
Good, very good.
Yeah. So, yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah. Very excellent reference. Excellent. Thank you, sister. Sister Karima, I hadn't heard that beautiful voice in a couple of days. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Kareem.
That fear one, the way it reacts to the body, it'll cause you to stroke and won't move. So that also 91 motionless, dealing with those emotions, not becoming humble. If it's related to fear and you don't face the fear, research to study it so you actually know what it is and don't fear it anymore, it'll cause you to have a stroke.
That's deep. That's deep. And yeah, it causes heart palpitations, all kind of stuff. So yeah, and especially the way that Brother Lukman had parsed that, it sheds even more light on that ayat. All praise is due to Allah. Sister Denise, go ahead, sis.
Yes, sir. I was just wondering, because I know things have to be, when things have to be, when they come and get the minister, but it's not going to be a pretty party for them. If you understand what I'm saying. And I'm just trying to like prepare my heart. You know, how do you prepare your heart? Because I know he gave us some instructions when all of this happened. And, you know, how do you, I remember even when I was in church, when they talking about crucifying Jesus, I couldn't handle that. You know, it was like the tears and all that stuff. And like, you know, when people do something to someone that's real close to you, or you don't want nothing, and he's saying that this has to be. So I guess I'm asking you, how do you come to that? It has to be. Okay, where you not okay with it, but you have to be okay with it. You understand what I'm saying? You know, without you getting so twisted and tied up where you can't untangle yourself and you can't bring yourself back to present time. I'm not sure if that's everything a lock, a second, if that's all of it on the engram, or where is that on the tone scale, where because you gotta come from somewhere, you know, to bring you up. So where are we?
Okay. Yeah, if you could rephrase it again, exactly what was the question? Because I'm hearing a lot of different things.
Yeah, yes, sir. Like hearing that, you know, that the minister's gone or whatever, and he tells us, don't do nothing, you know, and it's like
he tells us what now?
Well, not to, not to react. He's telling
Right. That's
okay?
right. That's right.
Because it's like this has to be, when something has to be, and where is that emotion? Is it resolved? Is it because I know it's not 4. You definitely not on 4 yet. 4.0. So you're not dead.
Well, it's gonna be different from different people.
Oh,
it's gonna be different, depending on the person. How you gonna handle it? You know what I mean? Or how you handle it is gonna be different from person to person. And I guess he's saying that he's already telling us that to sort of cushion the blow. He's saying that to prepare you so that you can brace yourself for impact. Just, and I think that's what's going on. I remember that was a fight, a boxing match between Evander Holyfield and this Hispanic brother who actually beat him. And the way that the Hispanic brother had beat him is that he hit Evander, and Evander didn't see the punch coming. So he was like a sitting duck. I mean, the brother clocked him, and it just about knocked him out. But now if you so in other words, since there was no counter effort there, then he took the full impact of the punch. Had he braced himself with this knowledge, see, this is what the minister's giving us, something to brace ourselves. See, had he braced himself, that there would have been a counter force that would have lessened the impact of the blow. So my thinking is that, of course, whatever your chronic tone scale is, and you can get an idea of what your chronic tone scale is with the book Self-Analysis. There is a little sort of test that you can take in self-analysis that reveals, somewhat accurately what your chronic or your average tone scale position is. Now, the higher up on the tone scale you are, the more resilient you will be. Because when we hear the news of the minister, you're gonna go below 2.0. I would guess. I would think that you're gonna go below 2.0 because you're losing what we say in book one. Those of you who are studying book one, you're losing a major ally. The minister is a big ally that we have an allegiance that the minister, you are protecting me, oh great minister, with this wisdom that you clothe me with. Remember yesterday we were talking about the best clothing is wisdom. So the minister have been putting clothes on us. And all of a sudden, you ain't got no clothes on. But inshallah, depending on your chronic position, that's gonna determine a lot as to how you will handle that. And since everybody has their own particular position on the tone scale, everybody's gonna have their own reaction. So it's not, and so you say, how do you handle that? I think that the minister have given us by sort of preempting us on what might happen to him. He's already said about they're gonna arrest him. And that's gonna be pretty rough. 87-year-old man, you gonna go and arrest him? How you gonna, and you know how they handle you anyway. And so I think as I say, we can't really, I don't think we can predict with any real accuracy what will take place. But I know that the minister has already he's given us something to brace ourselves for what is certain to be a telling blow on the nation.
Yes.
Does that help, sister?
Yes, sir. It does. Thank you. I got some work to do.
We all do.
Oh, myself.
We all do. We got, like the minister told me, brother, we got lots of work to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Sister Carol, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. I feel, Sister Denise, because I dreaded the idea that the minister would leave. Right now, I play Jesus is the Key every night to put myself to sleep since my son died, transitioned 2 years ago. But about 5 years ago, I heard, I think it was Brother Rasul telling the story that he, or the minister, I'm not sure, but I think it was Brother Rasul. He used to come on the line every morning on the Fajr prayer line, and he shared a lot with us. And he said to the minister, brother, you might not have to go, like my father. And the minister turned to him and said, "Get thee behind me, Satan." And he said the minister went on to explain that was not him talking. That was Satan talking through him. That he didn't, and showed him that he didn't see the bigger picture of why he had to go. So of course that shook me up. And I said, whoa. And in paraphrasing Brother Rasul, in a way, it seemed that what he was saying, the minister was saying, if you truly understood why your father had to go and why I have to go, you wouldn't be saying that. There's a part of you that doesn't perceive. It's our perception, how we are perceiving it, and how much you know about how Allah uses his messengers. So immediately, Brother Rasul, paraphrasing him, said he had to rethink that, and now he understood. And for me, that was very healing, because now I don't dread it. I'm very happy. And if you get, he said he's going up yonder. You already know heaven ain't up yonder. So he's going on the mother's wheel. He'll be with the messenger and the savior. And if you get UFOs in the Nation of Islam book by Brother Ilya Rashad Muhammad, you will understand exactly. So now I feel very good, and believe me, I'm a real crybaby when it comes to the minister. But I feel good when I hear him saying that, because I know, I feel in my heart now that I know exactly, and I feel it, that he'll be there, and he'll be there for that time, and Allah will do a demonstration on his illness that we've been watching, as I was sharing with Brother Batin, that we're watching him. He might be the last leg in the Savior's way of getting us back to God. So, and Brother Lukman, all of y'all are in that link of getting us into our God state. So you're in that same form, only your functions are different. So I hope that helps, because I feel very good now. And like I said, everybody who knows me know that don't say nothing about the minister, But I feel very good. Get UFOs, and you'll know that the messenger's up there doing his thing with the weather right now, and that the Savior's there, and all those angels are the 1,500 pilots. They're acting on our behalf 24/7. Thank you for letting me share. I hope that helps.
Yes, ma'am. It did help. Thank you. And I think I'm gonna take your cue and go ahead on and get this book from Brother Ilya. There was something that I had noticed when you were talking. The conversation of with Brother Rasul, and I think later on, as a matter of fact, it is later on. I don't know if we're gonna get this, if we're gonna get this far today, but talking about angels, when the ministers told Rasul to get thee behind me, Satan. He was referring, one perspective I'm going to offer is that he was dealing with the greater perspective of angels. And if you understand Satan, see, one of the ways, there are a lot of different ways, which is why we shouldn't get hung up in one tunnel vision way of thinking about it. You got to expand your perceptic or your perspective. And he says, in the Bible, it talks about Lucifer. I think it was Lucifer. Does anybody remember what Lucifer is? I don't really expect you to get it, but I just thought I would put it out there anyway to get you thinking about it. Lucifer, what?
Go ahead.
Lucifer was like a fallen angel. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. See, so what that does is that gives you an idea of the reality of Lucifer. And now, Sister Carol, I know you studied psychology and you studied schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is just an additional personality. I mean, just from a very basic, big picture definition. See, as we experience life, our mind, our analytical mind, which as we experience things, sometimes we are in present time, sometimes we on a certain level of present time, higher and lower, all of these different things as they come into our mind, as they are stored into our mind. They have various levels of reactive mind and analytical mind tagged into these experiences or these memories. And so the nature of the mind is to organize similar experiences. Remember a minute ago, we were talking about fear, how once you get into fear, how fear becomes a loop. And sometimes that loop of fear, for example, fear could be any emotion, this loop can actually pick up on all of your experience and form a personality. This is how these personalities, these additional personalities are formed with similar facsimiles that have similar characteristics. And so the personality that is formed through these similar experiences or facsimiles, the analytical, the ones that are formed in the analytical mind are angels. And the ones that are formed in the reactive mind are demons or devils. So, as you were saying that, Sister Carol, about the reaction that the minister gave to Brother Rasul, that is really, according to the text that I understand, that's what he was addressing. That obviously, see, after these things roll around in your head unresolved, it has to resolve some kind of way. If they're not resolved, what they do is they form somewhat of a personality. And if the personality, if the unit facsimile is based on facsimiles from the reactive mind, then you create devils or demons. And some people call it are related to being the jinn. Okay.
May I speak?
Go ahead.
Whoa. Wow. I heard one sister who, I think she has a gold seal. She said that Mr. Hubbard said if there was a devil at all, it would be the reactive mind.
He should have added himself. I'm just kidding.
Did he?
I'm sorry.
He said,
I'm sorry.
now
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
I want to hear what you said.
No, I was just being a little childish. Please forgive me. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. But the way you explained it, see, I and for the minister to say, "Get thee behind me, Satan," the minister is all up in his Russell's head. Just like you just broke it apart and showed where he went specifically to where he needed to go to shake Russell up. And you just broke it down. See, brother? See how important you are? I just want you to know that. And this ain't no brown nosing. I'm from Jersey.
I understand, sister. I got my Negro shield up.
I understand that too. I understand that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Because that's what I'm saying. See, stuff like this, it'll pump you up if you ain't crazy. I mean, if you're not careful. No, I'm just saying it'll make you it'll make you think. It'll make that thing because since it'll make you think that because it came through you, it came from you.
Yeah.
And so you got to have enough sense to know that this ain't from you. This is from Allah.
I see pictures when people talk to me all the time. I see you in your suit with your shield with the Negro. Keep Negro back. Keep Negro back. Okay, I'm going off, y'all.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Cause we got a couple of people in the queue here. Brother Luke Munn, sorry you had to wait so long, brother. Go ahead.
Oh no, brother. I loved it. Love listening to everyone that's got comments because I'm having so many cognitions. My head's about to blow up. I have a quick question, Brother Bateen, and then I'm gonna follow it up with a statement. You had mentioned something about the chronic tone that's explained in self-analysis and Handbook for Pre-Clears. Do you remember L. Ron Hubbard's teaching anything with regards to specific events causing specific drops in tone, meaning like a certain event might cause a 1 point drop in tone versus some events causing a 2 point drop in tone? Do you remember anything like that?
Not specific. What I do remember is him explaining, and this is really some deep stuff here too. He talked about the emotional curve.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And the emotional curve takes place when you have a drop, when you are above 2.0 and then you drop below 2.0.
Okay.
That you experience what they call an emotional curve. And the way that he explained it, it seemed to be tantamount to what people call an emotional roller coaster.
Right.
You know, how and it would make you lose equilibrium, spiritual, mental equilibrium, and actually go into a state of vertigo even.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember the first time I got on a roller coaster, man, I'm glad I had not ate because I know I would have thrown up.
Mm-hmm.
Because it knocked me out so much. But go ahead. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Can I connect this to the Bible real quick?
Brother, you can connect whatever you want to connect. Go ahead.
As the believers are speaking, my mind goes to Revelation 14, where it says that there would be another group of people standing on Mount Zion with the Lamb, and they have his Father's name in their forehead. And I always look at that as the Lamb being the minister, because we're not allowed to wear his name, but we wear his Father's name, which is Muhammad. So to me, those on Mount Zion with the Lamb, and they're singing a new song. And I look at the singing of the new song as they're at a higher tone level. And those that are with the Lamb on Mount Zion, the word Zion means an ideal perfect or nirvana, which on one level we could say Mount Zion could represent the state of clear. If we connect the concepts together, Mount Zion would be the state of clear. Singing a new song would represent those people that are with the Lamb having a higher level, a higher frequency of thought, which means their chronic tone level would be high. Now, when the minister departs, those that are at a high tone level, their tone perhaps will drop a little bit, but it won't drop low enough where if they're at let's say they're at 4.0 or even 20.0, their tone level drop, they still won't get close to 2.0. But individuals whose chronic tone level is already at 3 or 2, then when the minister departs, their tone they'll be on that emotional curve. Their tone is going to drop to a point of being aberrated. So as you were just saying, you might even get vertigo or get sick. Some of us as believers, if our chronic tone level is not already high, if we're not singing a new song on Mount Zion with the Lamb, when the Lamb departs, our curve is going to drop to the point where we're going to become aberrated. And his departure is going to cause us to lose our minds if we don't have a high chronic tone level.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. And when, as you say that makes me think of Sister Jacqueline and Sister Belinda may remember early on. I'm sure probably Sister Belinda remembers it. Early on that we had some detractors for STW, that people didn't really want us to be successful. And they somebody was sent into our meeting. We were meeting physically at that time at Mosque 15B. And a person, really he was an agent, was sent. Our agent of sorts, I'll say, was sent to disrupt our meeting. And so we got into this thing about the tone scale. We got into this thing about the chronic tone scale, Brother Lukman. And so I was just telling them, I say, well, first of all, to address what you were saying directly, Brother Lukman, the higher your chronic tone level is, the stronger the resilience you have.
Yes, sir.
To bounce back from an emotional curve experience.
Mm-hmm.
But see, now there's something deep in that whole aspect of a curve anyway, because a curve is not straight. Your nature is straight. So anytime you encounter any kind of curve, then you have to make some kind of compensation for the centrifugal or centripetal force that is generated by encountering a curve. And so this is, so that's that. But this is the thing of which you speak is part of the value of these courses. See, if you can sit here for 2 hours and listen to us talk all of this Dianetic and scientific and whatever it is that we're talking, that represents the fact that you are at least a 3.3 with spikes. So every time you get a cognition, you might spike up to 40 at a certain point. When we get those hallelujah moments, we know they've hit that. It's just like when you at the fair and you hit that little thing with the sledgehammer, you knock the little thing up and it rings the bell. And so what happens is just like you're in class now. You are in class now. But then when you get off the call, you're still in class. You're in the class of life. And so in your class of life, then you have a certain average in your class, which is your chronic tone scale position. And when you engage into these types of classes, you, due to your strong interest and the various cognitions that come about, what it does is that you raise your average. When you have a cognition, every time you have a cognition, you're raising your average. And the raising of the average is, like I say, it's like a building block, and it is a hedge between you and the emotional curve below 2.0.
Brother Batim.
Go ahead,
I
brother.
mean, cut you off. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
No, I was finished. Go ahead. You go ahead.
I just want to make a brief statement, brother. Wouldn't that, in mathematics, the ability to differentiate is the ability to find a straight path in the curve.
How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you see, he's talking calculus now. See, yes, sir. I never thought of it like that. I've been so far away from my calculus so long, but that is true, and that just show you that the whole that Mr. Hubbard's description is mathematically sound.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Sister Tina, go ahead, dear sister.
I only had one thing, but now since Brother Lukman said that, I just wanted to comment on what he just said. He spoke to what was in my mind, because when you said a curve, and then I thought about your analogy with the roller coaster, I said, okay, so, there might be a little sick feeling going on there, but if we're able to differentiate and find that straight line in the curve, we may drop a little bit, but there'll be no sickness. That's why we'll be able to bring ourselves back up. So that's what he just said made me think about, and that's a good thing. And the other thing was, Sister Carol, she had sent, a recording. She said she was going to do it, of Brother Stanley recounting or recalling his conversation with the minister on his daughter's transition. And when he finished, speaking on that and telling us about that conversation, his wife came on, and she said a few words. And what she first did, she greeted the minister, and she said something to the effect of wishing him wishing well wishes in his journey to the mother will. And I can't remember her exact words, but it was to the effect of well wishes in his trip when it's time to the mother will. The minister, boy, lit up. I mean, you could hear the smile, the joy on his face. I wasn't able to see him, but I could hear it. And he was so joyful, and he thanked her. And so he's going to be very happy when he goes. He's going to be very happy, and we should be happy for him, So that's what I wanted to say on that.
All right. Thank you. Praise be to Allah. Yeah, it's going to be, like I say, we may dip down for a minute, which will be natural whenever you have a loss. Because we will lose something. We will lose an ally. And as I was saying, when you study in book 1, it talks about, just read what Mr. Hubbard talks about, allies, ALLY. All right. Thank you, sister. Sister Carol.
Thank you. And also, as always, Sister Tina can give a microscopic view on things, as I always tell her. See, that's what I was trying to share with Sister Denise. See, we will be happy. And brother, I don't know, my tone scale might drop, but now I understand it in a way that my tone scale might get higher. Because now I know, in my heart, I know that the messenger is still physically alive, the Savior is still active, and they're all on the mother's wheel. And as I said, that book makes the wheel so real that you know, it just gives you that picture. And the tone scales of those who understand what happens when the minister leaves, our tone scale might just go up higher. I'll just leave it like that. I don't know.
Well, right. Well, I mean,
But
if you analyze what was said, it will be, because if I'm on, let's say if I'm on a 4.0 and then I get bounced down, depending on how strong I am on my 4.0, I get bounced down to 1.5, which is fear. The resilience, it acts almost like the strength of my 4.0. It's like a rubber band. You know, when you hit that rubber band and you go down below 4 or 1.5 to 1.5, that 1.5 can't hold you. You know, you know what I mean? You got stuff in your mind, in your being, that will it will be like you will be catapulted back up. See?
Well, what I'm thinking is, the minister says most of his organs are gone. He says there was a time when he could not sit like a regular person. He'd be in pain. He even had to take the worst, that street drug, fentanyl, that's killing people who's taking it and ODing. He had to take as high as that type of drug for his pain. And now that I understand that his sickness, in my heart, I understand it as a demonstration of Allah, for us to see how
Yes.
sick a man can be and still teach 5 hours or more. And when he goes now, he's going to get that pain taken care of. I'm anxious for him to hurry up and go now. I'm anxious because I want that to be taken care of, and then he'll be back in 3 years. So, and it took a few years for me to get to this state of mind and understanding. And every day I pray for understanding, and I'm there now. And I could say the same as Sister Ruth said. I'm happy for you to go. See, so that's just where I am. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
But I'd like to understand, maybe Brother Lukeman in one of his sessions can explain that, how you get a straight in a curve later, if you would.
Right.
Assalamu alaikum.
Right. Well, I can give you a more of a layman's version of that. You just think. You got the idea. You have the idea of straight in your mind. So when you get on the curve, you think straight, and then when you start thinking straight, then you can just naturally compensate for the force that's taking you off on the curve, which is generally centrifugal force. Was Brother Luke Mine, was you wanted to address Sister Carol?
Just very, very briefly. Once Ramadan ends, God willing, in the month of May, my plan is to go back to doing the mathematics perhaps once a week. But I will say this real briefly. The word in mathematics, differentiation, is the ability to find a straight line in the curve. And the word differentiate in Arabic is furqan.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And the main element of intelligence is differentiation.
Yes, sir.
In the definition of intelligence. All right, Sister Karima.
Oh, there was so much said where I wanted to say something. The us being okay. Okay, wait a minute. I know one of the things I wanted to say was during that 3-day believers meeting in 2004, the minister said that when the time comes, people are going to come to us, and if we don't have any help for them, they're going to kill us on the spot. So we're having the ability to get someone who is in that reactive mind to be able to reason quickly, because with him departing is good, because we know when he returns, he's going to have the book. Then there's still that battle to have the book established, because it's not going to be instinct, because his sword is dripping with blood. That whole time period, 3 years, scripture says 1,203 score days. There was something specific I wanted to say, but then y'all brought in differentiation and straight path and Farrakhan, the straight path, and I kind of lost what I was going to say.
It's all right, sister. You brought a mouthful. You did. And,
yeah, so and he prepared us all the way. So how is the destruction? What's going to happen? The civil unrest, we know about that. We've always been a people in civil unrest, not just from what we doing to ourselves, but what they did to us. And the weather, we know who controls the weather. Even with the planting of food, he told us, look, the property is cheap in the South now because it's drought, but we know who controls the weather. Go buy it. Plant, put a seed in. We know who controls the weather. The storing up of food. We've been taught that. So everything that we've been given, if we took heed to it for our mind, our body, our spirit, we'll be able to help ourselves, our family, and those that Allah allows to stumble across us. I remember I was doing disaster preparedness training on the open mic, and one brother said to me, I don't have to do anything. I'll just come to you in my Daisy's house and take what you got. So when I was about to say something, somebody out of the on the phone said, no, you won't. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, when that day comes, the people will say, the Muslims have been talking about this for years. Let's go to them. Mm-hmm. That they will be standing in front of our homes, but be confused and won't be able to find us if it is that they're planning to do us harm. So, yes. Salam
alaikum salam. Yeah, that is so true, sister. It's so interesting because, like I said, we've over the years, even in STW, we talked about this very thing that you're talking about. That about the rage of the people. And if you look at we've been talking about believe, the recurring theme of believe and do good. And what is do good? Do good is help and aid. And if you look at the Quran, the 110th surah is called the help. It said, when Allah's help and victory comes, celebrate the praise of Allah and seek his protection. You see, and so it's talking about the time that when I'm paraphrasing. It said, when the victory comes and thou seest men.
I know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Allah, when your help and victory comes and we see men entering the religion of yours in company, we will celebrate your rise and pray and ask your protection. Surely thou art turned into mercy. I say it every time I say my prayers. Yes, sir.
Yes, all praise be to Allah. See, so you got that, and then like you say, so what's going to happen? The people will remember. The people will remember. See, everything, even the people that we call it dead, but these people, that's why they are so valuable, and that's why Allah wants to one of the reasons why Allah wants to save everyone. Because everyone that you have said something about it, when this day comes and they have that cognition, which will connect what you said with the situation that they find themselves in, they are going to seek you out to resolve this particular situation. And I remember the minister was saying, we were driving in from the airport in the Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. We were driving past Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, where the Falcons and the Braves used to play. They tore it down. They got 2 new stadiums now. But he looked at that stadium. He said, brother, he said, one day we're going to be teaching. We're going to have people going to come to hear the teaching, that will fill up that stadium. And he said, what's more, it'll be more people on the outside waiting to get in that's on the inside. So you think what we're talking about might be valuable then? I would think so. Sister Tina, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to make a correction. Sister Karima, that was May 2003 when the minister spoke to us for those 2 days. 3 days, when he spoke to us for those 3 days. That was May 2003.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Praise be to Allah. All right. Well, we're going to go to the next ayat. Of course, we're a little bit past the time, but we're going to keep on going. Sister Haviva, if you would read to us ayat 156.
Yes, sir. Ayat 1. Ayat 156. And ordained for us good in this world's life and in the hereafter. For surely we turn to thee, he said. I afflict with my chastisement whom I please, and my mercy encompasses all things. So I ordain it for those who keep their duty and pay the poor rate, and those who believe in our messages.
And yes, ma'am. And I should have got you to read a couple of sentences before to get the right context, because he was saying, can you, please forgive me, sister.
Yes, sir.
Aviva, could you read 155 and 156 together? Then I think it'll make a whole lot, it'll make more sense.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, 155. And Moses chose his people 70 men of our appointment. So when the earthquake overtook them, he said, my Lord, if thou hast pleased, thou hast destroyed them before, and myself too. Wilt thou destroy us for that which the foolish among us have done? It is not but thy trial. Thou callest to perish thereby whom thou pleasest, and guidest whom thou pleasest. Thou art our protector. So forgive us and have mercy on us. And thou art the best of those who forgive. And ordain for us good in this world life and in the hereafter. For surely we turn to thee, he said. I afflict with my chastisement whom I please, and my mercy encompasses all things. So I ordain it for those who keep their duty and pay the poor rate, and those who believe in our messages. Hello.
Thank you, sis.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I had just I had looked at that one because well, you got Moses talking about the consequences of those before him, and said, thou, it is nothing but a trial that thou causest to perish thereby whom thou pleasest, and guidest whom thou pleasest. Thou art our protector, so forgive us and have mercy on us, and thou art the best of those who forgive. And it says, and ordain for us good in this world's life and the hereafter. And that just kind of struck me as sort of like an auditing command. And see, when we begin to study the tone scale, we understand more about tone 40. So when he ordains, when something is ordained, that means there is a command. And there's something about tone 40. Tone 40 is one of is on one of the top realms, REALM, top realms of the tone scale. It is actually not the absolute top of the tone scale. There is actually something beyond tone 40. But at this stage in development, this is the most relevant realm that we operate. Like the minister say, you develop yourself on one level before you go to the next level. And so this ordaining good for us in this life and in the hereafter. In other words, to ordain that is a strong command. And he says, I ordain it for those who keep their duty and pay the poor rate, and those who believe in our messages. So the command factor of Allah is transferred to those of us who keep our duty and pay the poor rate and believe in the messages of Allah. Did you have your hand up, Luqman? I thought you did. You had your hand up. Don't be trying to hide, brother.
This was in regards to Ayat 100, though. I don't know if you want to go back to it real quick.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
In reading the Ayat, and I'll keep this very brief, it mentions inheriting the earth after its former residence. And what I saw in that Ayat, when I cleared the Arabic, the word earth in Arabic also pertains to the physical body, which in Scientology we would call either the genetic entity, or we would consider that what's called mest. So inheriting the earth after its former residence is interesting because in Arabic, former residence also represents family members. So I kind of saw that as inheriting the earth after its former residence being symbolic of after we remove the allied computations, because allied computations represent the family members from our past that did what they did. And once we can remove them, then we can gain control of the messed body. I don't know if that was just kind of how I saw the connection between the Holy Quran and the Scientology, where we remove the former residents or family members in order to inherit the earth, which is the messed body or the genetic entity that this theta travels in.
Yeah, that's interesting. I can't say that I thought about that beforehand, but that's definitely very interesting. Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Luqman, as always. All right, Sister Carol, go ahead.
Okay, that sounds like that Sister Tina was trying to talk on yesterday. That travels through.
There it is.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the interesting thing about it, Brother Luqman, too, is that was when he was talking about that, that was very early in his research. You know, he really had not even developed a lot of science on theta then, because theta the theta came about with science of survival. I don't know, what was that, 1951? Science of survival is what year?
It was 1 year after Dianetics,
right?
I believe,
right,
1 or 2 years after Dianetics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whoa. Thank you. I'm gone.
All praise is due to Allah. All right. Well, I think we're going to do this. We're going to do one more, and then we're going to close it down for the day. Ayat 170, Sister Haviva.
170. Yes, sir. And as for those who hold fast by the book and keep up prayer, and surely we waste not the reward of the reformers. Hello.
Okay, and then I'm just looking at my notes. We can't end right there, dog. I know why did I say we're gonna end right there? We getting ready to get up on the one that I'm sure you all will get something out of. But anyway, this particular one here, those who hold fast by the book and keep up prayer. Remember, we talked about we came up with our little word, stick to itness. That surely we waste not the reward of the reformers. And see, this is what, in my humble opinion, we are helping Allah to reform the way that we approach Islam. You know, we're like the caterpillar that spins the cocoon, and we are on the verge of emerging into a new growth. And I really feel like this is what we're doing. Now, this next one, Sister Haviva, if you will go to Surah 8, Ayat 9 through 12. And that one, I know that's going to do it.
Yes,
I know
sir.
that'll get us through. We might not be off until iftar on this one.
9 through 12. Ayat 9. When you sought the aid of your Lord, so he answered you, I will assist you with 1,000 of the angels following one another. And Allah gave it only as good news, and that your hearts might be at ease thereby. And victory is only from Allah. Surely Allah is mighty, wise. Ayat 11. When he made slumber fall on you as a security from him, and sent down upon you water from the clouds, that he might thereby purify you, and take away from you the uncleanness of the devil, and that he might fortify your hearts and make firm your feet thereby. Now, Lord revealed to the angels, I am with you. So make firm those who believe. I will cast terror into the hearts of those who disbelieve. So smite above the necks and smite every fingertip of them. This is because they oppose Allah and his messenger. And whoever opposes Allah and his messenger, then surely Allah is severe and requited.
All right. Thank you, sis.
Allahu Akbar, yes, sir.
Allahu Akbar. 9. When you sought the aid, check it out. When you sought the aid of your Lord, so he answered you, I will assist you with 1,000 of the angels following one another. So if you can just think about that previous definition, that description, I'm not going to say definition because it's more of a description than it is a definition, or it is a way to delineate the existence and the reality of angels. So when you say, I will assist you with 1,000 of the angels following one another, angels, and I'm not going to say they are. I'm just saying this is one way to look at it. So don't say that I'm saying that this is end all, tell all. The angel is just the unit facsimile of a certain type. And the angel is a unit facsimile of that which is pro-survival. There may be 1,000 different personalities. See, the person, the person is what whispers. See, these things, angels whisper into your ear. So you got the jinn that whispers into your ears in firm resolution, but you've got on both ends. And I think we've used the examples before of, if you ever watched the cartoons, the Flintstones, and you saw where Fred Flintstone, every once in a while, Fred would have on his right side, he have a little angel with the little wings, a little miniature Fred with the wings. And then on the left, he had the little miniature Fred with the pitchfork, was the devil. And I just think that that's somewhat of an accurate, there's a certain degree of accuracy in that depiction. Because like you say, you ain't got to go to theological seminary, which it wouldn't be right if you did have to go to seminary to understand these things that affect us all. Go ahead, Brother Lukeman.
Brother Bateen, when we were first directed to Dianetics, how many auditors did the minister say he wanted at first?
I thought it was 3,000. I could be wrong. I thought the number that pops in my mind is 3,000.
I thought I heard 1,000.
I thought I heard 1,000 too, but I wasn't 100% sure.
But we ended up with about 3,000. Is that what it was?
Well, I'm just looking at the number, 1,000 angels to assist, and the fact that we have what's called the assist. We have the different types of
Man, shut your mouth. Hey, that is. Yeah. Man, we can just about stop there. On that one now. Assist you with 1,000 of the angels. Following one another.
I know that ayat is right. I'm gonna parse through that once we get finished, because I see something else in there.
Yeah, praise be to Allah. So when you go to 11, when he made slumber fall on you as a security from him and sent down upon you water from the clouds, that he may thereby purify you and take away from you the uncleanness of the devil, and that he might fortify your hearts and make firm your feet thereby.
Could the slumber be like boil off?
It could. It could be. What I had flagged is I guess a different dimension, a different level of looking at it. But that's a reasonable observation as far as I'm concerned. He talks about, I'm looking at water, clouds, fortify, purify, heart, make firm your feet. And all of these are things. Water represents knowledge. the clouds represent, it said Jesus was coming back on the cloud. You see Jesus was coming back on the cloud, representing the high perspective, the high wisdom. Fortified is what we that's what we do. When you mention even the whole thing of thinking about the slumber and the boil off, you see. As a matter of fact, in Handbook for Pre-Clears, I forgot what it was they were talking about. If you did these processes and then you ran into boil off, then they were saying that you need to run regret. They're speaking of the boil off. So we're trying to, back to what I was saying, we're trying to fortify, we're trying to purify our hearts. In other words, to purify your heart, that means we need to strive for a chronic tone level above 2.0 at the least. Because once you get above 2.0, then you automatically, you are in a purification, you're fasting then spiritually from the things that pull us down into the lower emotions, which goes back to rising above emotion into the thinking of God. The emotions that he's talking about rising above are those that are below 2.0, so that he may fortify your heart. Protect, that's what a fort is. It's something that protects your heart, protects you from going into these areas of the heart that make you lean toward contra survival and make firm your feet thereby. And that's what we've been talking about. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for firmness. We're trying to get the firmest handle that will not break.
Brother Martin?
Go ahead, brother.
Could you read the definition of boil off real quick, if you don't mind?
Get it. I don't have it pulled up. Can you do that, Belinda?
My apologies, Brother Batin, but
no, it's all right.
Brother, this workshop got me so I'm so through the roof right now. I can't even contain myself.
All right, brother, we're going to get you a helmet.
Okay, from the Tech Dictionary, boil off, to become groggy or seem to go to sleep. Usually a flow running too long in one direction. A manifestation of unconsciousness is very mild and simply means that some period of the person's life wherein he was unconscious has been slightly re-stimulated. There are about 3 more definitions. Keep going.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just read.
Okay. A state of unconsciousness produced by a confusion of effort impinging upon one area. It is a slow motion unconsciousness. A condition of, I don't know this word, SOMNOLENCE.
Somnolence. Sleep is sleepwalking.
Okay, which is sometimes indistinguishable from sleep. Boil off was originally and sedately named chromatic reduction, but such erudition has been outvoted by the fact that it has never been used. It actually is a flow which is run too long in one direction. That's what boil off, antonym, etc. is.
Okay.
Now that is synonymous with the Arabic word for slumber that's in that ayat. And then the word heart when you clear that in Arabic, that also means mind. It means thought. So that ayat sounds like it could describe boil off, because boil off does remove part of the uncleanness of the devil. If we say that the devil is the engram, the boil off does help, is part of that removal of the uncleanness, I believe.
Okay, well, it all deserves, further study for sure. All right, well, we right at 12:05. I just want to at least read this last one right quick so we can get on out of here. I don't mean to rush anything, but we're running over the time. We say we're going to do an hour, and we've been doing twice that. And we don't want to cause any spiritual boil off, brother Luke Munn. About running the process too long. By definition, when the Lord revealed to the angels, "I am with you, so make firm those who believe." So it said, "Make firm those who believe. I will cast terror into the hearts of those who disbelieve. So smite above the necks and smite every fingertip of them." And so I just what I had just flagged the word angels there, and I think you can with the very broad description that I gave early of angels, that we can we should be able to apply that. The boil off, going back to that real briefly. He says certain things about boil off, because in book 1 that you're supposed to let the person boil off. Then in some of the subsequent books, he said that you stop the boil off. You see. And then he said, stop, even the handbook for pre-clears, if I'm not mistaken, he said, stop the boil off and then run regret. So that's a subject that maybe we want to take up, but we've taken up enough time now for the day. And I hate to end it off like that, but it's 12:08, and I just want to thank everybody once again, for participating. And I believe that Allah would be pleased with us if we are all trying to make moves and of understanding toward his truth of Islam. So we're going to bring this to a close, and inshallah, we'll be back on the scene, inshallah, in the morning at 10:00 a.m. And I hope to see you then. So is there any of the brothers that's on would like to come off camera and close us off with prayer? If not a big deal, I'll do it. All right. Attention, prayer. And we pray. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, all praises are due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the beneficent, the merciful, master of this day of judgment in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, thee alone do we beseech for help. O Allah, guide us on the right path. The path you have bestowed favors not of those whom your wrath has brought down, nor those who go astray. Ameen. Okay, brothers and sisters, go in peace. Ramadan Mubarak. I look very forward to seeing you all in the morning, 10:00. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Ramadan Kareem.